Alright, today is January 27th, and if you don't know, in 1945 the Red Army rolled in and liberated Auschwitz. So, we're going to be covering Sabaton. We're going to be covering the final solution. I was going to do this earlier, but I kind of forgot. So, let's just get into it. I want to get this done and over with. I kind of forgot to tell you about the final solution a little bit, Stuart. It was the idea to solve the so-called, the final solution was the so-called final solution to the Jewish question. And they would put Jews, homosexuals, gays, the so-called Untermensch of Europe, put them in there, and they would systematically exterminate them while exploiting them for labor. It was the premise. About a couple of days or about a week ago, there was the 1Z conference, which was the talks on doing this. The talks were to implement the final solution. Okay, so before the Nazis rose to power, Germany was under extreme economic turmoil due to the Treaty of Versailles and the Great War. And so essentially, Germany's broke. They're basically not functioning. And they're trying to find a scapegoat to blame for all their suffering, get themselves out of the situation in Germany. And so, during the Great War, actually, Adolphus goes and he blames the Jews and communists to backstabbing Germany during the Great War. And so in 1935 they start all these policies, and then by 1938 all the hate explodes into a Kristallnacht, leading to some deaths and a lot of property damage across German-occupied Europe, which is just the German Reich and Austria. See right here, these are the other victims of the final solution, such as Poles, Soviets, Slavs, POWs, Romais, and such as that. There's a lot of people, not just the Jews. They also forget that these were outside Germany. These were in Germany. They were doing this to their own Germans, to Jewish Germans. And the propaganda at the Reich turned their own friends, their own neighbors against them, leading to a lot of, interesting things happening. Kristallnacht, that's when all the hate exploded into Nazi supporters looting Jewish businesses across Germany. So obviously Auschwitz the most famous thing is that they would gas them and then cremate them. They would burn them to nothingness. Even though that wasn't the beginning of Auschwitz, they didn't do that immediately. Originally, it was you got shot. They shot you to death. But then the Germans realized this is a waste of ammunition. So they went to this method after a guy almost accidentally killed himself. I'm just going to replay that. Don't know what just happened. This is the fuels order still applied. Even by the end of the war, these policies were still in place. They were still in place. So, basically, till the defeat of every Nazi unit inside Germany, there were still orders to exterminate the Jews, the Romas, the Gypsies, the Slavs, the Soviets, POWs, all that. Until the defeat of every Nazi unit within Europe, those were still in place. I think those are modern tanks. Okay, to kind of just wrap things up here, this happened mostly outside of Germany. There was a few concentration camps inside Germany, but those were mainly for political prisoners and high value VIPs. The reason why, kind of, this was the point, was that the Holocaust was completely illegal, and the Nazis knew that themselves. As you can see, by the end of the war, they were burning documents and executing prisoners and forcing them the rest to survive on death marches across Europe. Problem is, you can't get rid of something this big. Another thing is, it's kind of hard to hide. But since the Nazis are good at doing basically nothing, this was the one thing they were good at. And the German population, or most of them, had no idea this happened because most concentration camps were outside Germany, in Poland, the USSR, even France, Yugoslavia, Greece. They were everywhere across Europe, everywhere except Germany, to try and keep the public eye off of what was happening. Because this was never laid out. They were never told this. This was never supposed to, be taught in the history books. However, the final solution pales in comparison what would have happened if the Nazis actually lost the war, with the extermination of every single Untermensch across Europe, across Nazi-occupied Europe. They won the war. The extermination would be multiple times multiple times bigger, more deadly than the final solution ever would have been. And with that, we'll close this out, because I have nothing left to talk about.